Today we're going to be replacing the cabin air filter on a 2000 VW GLS model. Some of the cabin air filters are located in the engine bay. This particular one happens to be underneath the dash. We have already removed the dash on this particular unit because we have the ECM removed and sent in for repair. If you're wondering how to take the dash apart, please look at my other video prior to this. Otherwise, we're going to get started and show you where the filter's at. You need a T20 socket head and a 1/4 inch drive. I had mentioned once before, just a few minutes ago, the dash has been taken apart. On the left side here is where the ECM was. It's currently being fixed and repaired at Module Place in Jacksonville, Florida. What we're focusing on today is the location of the cabin air filter, which will be underneath this here. If you look around, there's going to be T20 screws. Once we remove those, this part will come up and the filter should be underneath. So let me get those screws removed and see what we've got. One thing I did want to mention is there are 6 of these screws, and you're going to want to make sure you don't lose them, because you can get new screws, but these are very specific on how they're set up, with the head and the flange and everything on there. And but anyway, I've got all of these 6 screws removed. Make sure you put them in a safe spot just so you know where they are, and it should pop right up. Well, upon removing the cover, I find that there are all sorts of junk in here. Just like the other side here, when I took the ECM out, there's leaves there. I'm going to be vacuuming that out here shortly. There is a set of material here similar to that of a mouse nest. Being that it was on the other side and it's on this side doesn't surprise me a bit. We're having problems with getting enough airflow in here, getting a recirculation throughout the cab. So this would definitely clog things up to where I'm not getting the airflow that I need. And it will help with the filter I'm going to replace it with. Will help with allergens and everything else. I'm going to be putting a dryer sheet in here too, because I've heard that that helps with keeping the cab smelling decent, and going from there. So once I get everything cleaned out and get the filter out, I'll show you what it looks like. We're going to vacuum it out, get a new filter today, and get the filter back in. Get the cover back in, and then this way, when everything's done, this ECM comes back, we'll be popping that in and putting the dash back together. So stay with me. Well, I've got the filter out. I'll show you that in a minute. But to release, there are these tabs that you have to push in, and then the filter comes up. There's one on each side. This is going to need to be vacuumed out. It's leftover debris, but I will show you the filter here in a moment and show you just how bad this was. And next we'll be cleaning it out, getting a new filter, and putting it back in. Well, this is what came out of the VW. The tabs I was showing you inside, they click onto that, so you just got to push the tab in, pop this up to pull it out. All the debris and everything here, this is going to be replaced. To do that, this plastic ring just pulls off the top of it, all the debris and stuff off of it, and this is the filter which gets replaced. It shows arrows will show down to show the flow up, and I'm going to go vacuum things out and go get a new filter, and then we'll put the process of putting it back together. We have vacuumed all this out and cleaned everything out of here. Everything's looking good. Also on the other side, the ECM got vacuumed out, so that side's ready to go when that comes back. So now we're going to go get a cabin filter, a new one, and get it installed and put the plate back on this, and then we can just wait for the ECM to come back to put the rest of the dash back together. Putting the new bracket on, make sure that your plastic edge goes over the outer lip here. As I was putting this on, pushing it down, this needed to be tucked down a little bit on each side to make sure that it conformed and fit. So now that we've got the new one in place, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the vehicle, put the cover back on, and then we'll just wait for the ECM. Now, if you remember when I took this apart, there were leaves in the filter, leaves everywhere, debris. I've since then vacuumed it out, cleaned everything out, it's ready for the new filter to go in there. I'm going to put the new filter in just a second, but some people have been noted to take like a dryer sheet or different things like that to put on top of the filter before putting it in. This kind of gives it a little bit of a fresh smell to it. I'm not going to do that because the dryer sheet will only keep it smell for so long, and then you have to replace it. Where this cabin filter can be replaced about once a year is what they recommend, or 15 to 25,000 depending on your vehicle. And I don't want to have to take the dash apart to replace that air filter, or the dryer sheet on top of the air filter. So we're just going to put this one in. The one I got happens to have a charcoal filter built into it. As you can see, some of the black on there. So that will help take care of, I think it said 98 or 99% of things that come into the air and keep your airways clean in the car itself. So let's go ahead and get this installed. Oh, then you're going to see there's tab 1, tab 2 here. And on the back side there's 1, 2, 3. And if you look inside, there are 1, 2, 3 tabs there and 2 tabs there. So make sure that when you're putting it in, you're putting the 3 tabs in first to connect into the bottom end, and then the 2 tabs here and here to collect on the first end, or clip in the first end. Okay, once you get it in place, just come down, clip the 2 brackets in place, snap, snap, and your air filter is in place now. I'm ready to put the cover back on, but before I do that, I've noticed a little bit of water in here. I'm going to clean up and figure out where it's coming from. But we'll get the cover back on, and then we're just waiting for the ECM, which should be coming. Just got there 2 days ago on Friday. Takes 3 days to be fixed and turned around and sent back from there, so I'll have that back in about a week. But almost done with the filter here. Get the cover back on, get the water cleaned up, and we will be ready to go when the ECM comes back. Okay, I've got the water taken care of. I'll show you in a minute where I think it came from. But we've got the top here, and then once we put that in place, we'll just put the screws in and hold it down, and I'll show you that in just a moment. I've got the cover in place. I'm going to take the screws, one by one, put them in place, and tighten it down. Go along and do that to the rest of them and tighten it down, and the cover will be done. Alright, the cover's in place. I just have a few more screws to tighten down, but the project here on the cabin air filter is done, and new ones have been replaced. I can't start it up and try it yet until the ECM comes back, but that's another video on ECM, so subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and thank you for watching, and have a great day.